tune, but he did. He said, I like the Beatles, I like rock and roll. Let's write some songs and see what happens. So Gene and I were sitting out in the front room of the Troubadour, a place that was open all day with tables and chairs, and writing songs. And this guy I met when I was with the Limelighters walked in and started singing harmonies. He said, I want to be in your band. I said, well, we don't really have a band, David. We're just kind of writing some songs. I said, oh, come on, man. If I can be in your band, I know this guy's got a recording studio we could use for free. I said, you're in. So David Crosby took us over to meet Jim Dixon, his friend, World Pacific Records, who's a producer, engineer. And Jim let us work out on the tape machines after all the real sessions were over. And that's when we discovered that three guys with an acoustic 12-string didn't sound anything like the Beatles. And we wanted to sound like the Beatles. So we needed more musicians and better instruments. We saw this guy walk in front of the Troubadour, looked just like two of the Rolling Stones. Said, him, let's get him. So we got Michael Clark to come over. He said, you know how to play the drums? I said, well, I play a little congas, man. Good enough. So we got some cardboard boxes and we taped a tambourine on top of that. We got him some drumsticks and he learned how to play drums on that. And then Chris Hillman came over from Westwood, where he's a bluegrass band called the Scottsville Squirrel Barkers. And Chris had this $35 bass that he picked up somewhere. And he was already an ace mandolin picker, and he played guitar and bass. So we had a real bass player and kind of a drummer, but we didn't have any decent instruments. So we all went to see the Beatles movie, A Hard Day's Night, and took down notes on what the Beatles were playing. Okay, Ringo Starr's got Ludwig drums, we gotta get some Ludwig. George Harrison has a Gretsch guitar, gotta get a Gretsch guitar. And John Lennon has a little Rickenbacker. Well, then George came out with another Rickenbacker that looked like a 6-string from the front, but when he turned sideways, you could see 6 other twin picks sticking out the back. I said, oh, that's a 12-string electric, I gotta get one of those. They sound so great in the movie. Hard Day's Night, man. So I went out and bought a Rickenbacker electric 12 like that and traded in my acoustic 12-string and my 5-string banjo, and I slept with it. It was great. I used to play 8 hours a day. It was wonderful. So we had instruments, but we didn't have a name. Our manager invited us to Thanksgiving dinner. I think you can see where I'm going with this. So he's sitting at the Thanksgiving table with this bird, trying to cook up a name. And so he said, what about the Birdsies? Well, that was the name of the Dino Valenti song. I said, no, that's too cute. We couldn't use that. I said, well, what about the Birds? Well, B-I-R-D-S was a slang for girls in England. So that's just that simple. The Beatles changed the spelling Beatles. Why don't you change the spelling of birds? B-U-R-D-S. We didn't like that. We came up with a Y and stuck. So we had a name, but we didn't have a record deal. So Jim Dixon knew some people in Hollywood. He sent us over to his agent's house, a guy named Benny Shapiro. We played a couple of songs in Benny's living room, and we didn't know it, but he had a 14-year-old daughter upstairs. She came running down the stairs, all excited, Daddy, Daddy, who's that? She thought the Beatles were in her living room. The next day, Miles Davis came over to talk to Benny because it was his agent. And Benny's telling Miles, you know, a funny thing happened last night. These kids came over to audition, and my daughter heard them, and she flipped out. She thought they were great. And Miles said, well, kids have a way of knowing things like that. So I picked up the phone and called Robert Lieberson of Columbia Records and said, you know that rock band you've been looking for? I think I got it for you. And after an audition tape, they signed us on Miles Davis' recommendation.
Wow.
But Columbia Records in 1964 was very conservative. They had Broadway show tunes, they had jazz and classical, Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet, Doris Day. They didn't have any rock and roll. And the way we felt about rock and roll was the way organized crime felt about selling heroin. It was distasteful, but there was a lot of money. So the deal they gave us was for one single, and if we got a hit with the single, we could go back in the studio and record an entire album. So we needed a really strong song. And nobody thought any of the songs that Gene Lock and I had written were that strong, including this one, which turned out to be a number 6 on the Billboard Top 40 for the Turtles. You show me how to do exactly what you do. I love you. Oh, it's true. I'm in love with you. And when I try, I can see you far away. And I decide not a trick at all. It's all you do exactly what you do.